All right, we're live. Uh-oh. Are you fuzzy? You weren't fuzzy a moment ago. Now you're focused? Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, welcome to Table Talk, where we talk all things tabletop. I'm your host, the Bella Gamer, and I'm joined by my co-host, Blue Boy.
Howdy, howdy.
And our new guest today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Everyone, it's me, Phoebe Bane. I do a lot of tabletop stuff on my Twitter and Twitch. Hopefully you know my face, maybe. I'm a goblin.
Yeah, and you know what? You get the honor of being our first VTuber guest on the show. So, that's awesome.
I gotta say, I immediately think it's immensely funny, the dichotomy between me, PNG, lights up, and actual VTuber, like, model.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, which was expensive.
True.
They are expensive.
Yeah.
It's okay. We have all the varieties right here. It's perfect. We have a mix
There is
between
Flash.
Yeah. We got Flash, 2D, and 3D. But today is an interesting day, and I didn't think Paizo was gonna come out swinging. So they brought up the Animist already as one of the two new classes, and they're currently going over the Animist on live. All three generations of Twitch. Yep.
Yeah.
True. And it's exciting. Hi Jess. I know, isn't Phoebe really cute?
Yeah.
So, I'm very excited. So, I'm sure they've already kind of gone over some of the basics of Animist at this point. It's Divine Caster. And it's super exciting because it's a class that kind of, it can take the powers of spirits and use some of their knowledge along with their spellcasting, which I think is super cool.
Just the, like, art looks pretty sick, too, and the one bit I heard was a key feature of them is they have just one solid colored, like, eyes, which I'm always a fan of as, like, a character
Ooh.
design thing.
Oh, their face cam died.
Oh no.
Now they're back. And I know I was silly and I didn't look at all the information, but I know Phoebe's looked at some of the information. Without giving
I
away
looked at it all.
yeah, without giving away too much, what's your impression on the Animus?
They are very, very cool. That's all I can really say. Without like talking about the mechanic stuff, but like, oh god, oh my god.
Is it your favorite or is the other one your favorite?
I'm a little biased, but the other one is my favorite. This one's like Animist is so cool and awesome, but like the other one, and like there's no chance, like there doesn't stand a chance.
It's true. That's true. Everyone's like, I'm
Like,
pretty sure
one's
that's
a
why
rare
they did
class,
Animus
it's like,
first.
aw.
Yeah, you gotta end with the banger, and I assume, Cam, with the only info I have of what these classes are, the next one is gonna be the one that I'm gonna enjoy.
Maybe. I don't want to give spoilers, so.
I've already begged my GM to make me play it. Let me play the playtest.
And they've already revealed as well that the next kind of product line that's coming out is called War of the Immortals. Which is really cool, and based on what they've talked about already, a god is going to die, and there's going to be a fight for the new ascendancy.
Place your bets, everyone. Everyone we've talked to has a different, like, horse that they're betting on which god is gonna die.
I vote Era still.
Okay, it's
Aristil.
perfect. Everyone's kept it up. We all have different theories and different gods.
All right, but like, hear me out. Aristil is like one of the oldest ones. He's like one of like the first ever DNA show. Like, he definitely has a lot of power to him. But he also has a really bad past in Pathfinder where he was like a racist, sexist, homophobic god when he first happened. So he has a really bad history and track record
Wow,
that
I
they
didn't know
fixed in
that.
Pathfinder 2e. Oh yeah, no. If you've ever played what is it, Rise of the Rune Lords, I believe it is. Like, you go to a town and they just like, it's really bad, dude. It's just like, women have to go stay home and they're not allowed to be priests of our church, and also we're gonna slut shame this lady for a plot.
Whoa, we
That
never got
happened
that
in a
far. That's
published
crazy.
book. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but the thing, like, because that was back when, like, anybody could, like, write for Paizo back when, like, it first happened, because, like, you know, big edition happening, we were just gonna have a lot of stuff happening at once. They didn't really vet a lot of the bad people out yet, so, like, Aristil's lore was not how it was supposed to be at all.
That's crazy. I like the new Aristil. I've had some characters under Aristil because it's just the god of family and home life, pretty much.
Yeah.
Huh, yeah, very happy that they changed that, because just hearing those
Same.
10, it's like, I can understand those problematic bits you just described in Rune Lord. I can see why that would exist.
How strangely poignant for today's discussion as well.
Yeah, that honestly, that's a pretty fair theory. However, I still have the one I'm betting on. I have a conspiracy that they're going to kill off Nethys. And with Nethys' death, they're also going to announce that they're updating and remaking the Archive of Nethys site for the new influx of Pathfinder players. That is my theory.
I kind of hope if they do kill Nethys, the next magic god is a goblin, just because it'll be like chaos. It's like, welcome to the Archives of Spinkle.
Yeah, something weird and fun.
Archive of
That would be
Spinkle.
great.
We do need some like a good goblin god. There's not really.
I
any
know, right? There's
super
none of them.
well-known
We have Grandma Lamash too, but like, you know, she's kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, she's really she's I think even in the current lore, she's not a good god.
No.
I'm sure it's been toned down a little bit. She used to be way worse.
Oh yeah, no, it's very toned down, but it's still like, I'm gonna horribly make you disfigured and awful so that you can only worship me. And it's like, that's not nice, Grandma.
That's not nice, Grandma.
My grandma, no, you're just...
I mean, she did make the goblins accidentally.
True.
I
Then
wouldn't expect anything else from a goblin god of just accidentally making goblins.
I do like, however, that like after like a bunch of goblins got like more ingrained into society, they started worshiping other deities. And my favorite will always be the Crooked Toes tribe following Sarenrae by staring into the sun all day on the roof.
That does sound like goblin behavior right there.
That's great.
How do I praise the sun? Oh, look at it forever. It's pretty.
Oh my god, you could, if you really want to, make a very short Solaire with big goblin ears sticking out of the helm.
Yes!
That would be really fun.
I mean, so my fiance, her first character was an unbreakable goblin. Best goblins.
They're great.
And just looking at goblin feats, they're just so cool. Goblins are great.
I really like, though, like, they have such, like, the best ancestry feats. Bouncy goblins are great. I really like that one that Gamble Japes was the goblins that strengthen their head by just every day they just smash it into a rock for, like, repeatedly for training.
Well, that was the unbreakable goblins.
Oh,
but
that's the
yeah,
unbreakable one, yeah.
that was her tribe.
It's just like every feat for goblins is an absolute delight to read.
Goblins
I love
are
the
great.
Charhide goblins that just light themselves on fire, and then because they do that, they can spit fireballs at people.
Yep. The goblins are the epitome of chaos, and it's great. I absolutely love them.
That's as goblins should be.
True.
I like them more as like little chaos beasts than just like murder gremlins like they are in like D&D type stuff. It's like, no, I want to be a wacky cartoon bitch.
True. Well, you know, and that's like Rise of the Rune Lords, which we were just talking about. The beginning part where the goblins attack the town just so epitomizes so many of them just accidentally kill themselves in the raid. And you find one who's just starving inside of a wall because he got trapped. It's very sad what happens, but it's just, there's all kinds of things. Like, you find them dead in, like, a barrel or something because they accidentally fell in and they can't swim, and all kinds of things. It's just, they're just, even the bad goblins are really, really crazy, and it's just absolutely wonderful. I love it.
Like, look at this weird, wacky, zany man. He killed that whole family, including the grandma, but like, look at him. He's a little scruggly boy.
It's a thing I've always appreciated about that specific interpretation of goblins, and seeing it in Pathfinder is I am a massive Warhammer 40k fan. That is like my thing. They're essentially like a less grimdark version of 40k orcs, where they're doing the same actions and the same tone as orcs. It's just they're a lot goofier when they're doing it and a lot more fun.
And a lot less British.
And a lot less British. That's very true.
True.
If only goblins had the power of groupthink and a power of belief.
And also, thank you, Pixel, for the sub. So let's talk about goblins, and I do know, as loosely as possible, because I have the privilege of having a few trans players kind of join my games and play my games, or playing games that I'm in. There's a lot of trans people who very much connect with goblins. Is there any, like, anything behind this theory, do you think, Phoebe?
I actually don't know, because like I'm a part of like the general greater goblin like community of like VTubers and Twitter people. Like there's like 1,000 of them in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And like half of them are trans. I have no idea why. I've never like put two and two together yet. It's just like, oh, I guess it's because you can be a weird little guy without judgment, because everyone's like, oh yeah, it's a goblin. They just do that. They're allowed to be weird little guys.
I guess that's true. It's something fair. Fascinating that I've noticed a lot of the time. Even one of the players we have for our Monday game has a goblin. And as well, I mean, I got the impression that like every Pathfinder server is about 50% trans. Might just be one of the ones I end up on, though. Fair. I mean,
it's also helpful that Paizo is just incredibly inclusive and like genuinely very cool with their community. That definitely helps.
Paizo is definitely like the polar opposite of like the OSR community.
It's true.
It's really funny to watch them interact on Twitter.
It is. Everyone over here is just like, yeah, we're just whatever, you know, you can do what you want. And OSR is just like, that's not tabletop. And then sparks.
And then Paizo's like community manager, Aaron, just was like, no, get out of my house.
Pretty much. And so like half of the topic today, they're talking about Animus over there, and there's been some stuff revealed. We'll definitely get to that as well. But today's initial, like, before anything, today's chat was about, you know, trans players and their involvement in the TTRPG community, especially because I think recently, especially the last few years, there's been a big boom in trans people in the community. And as well, Paizo and Pathfinder being one of probably the most welcoming TTRPGs, at least like most known. I'm sure there's tons of other spaces, like the crew who made Thirsty Sword Lesbians or whatever it was called.
I love that game.
Yeah, we almost played it. We had a poll for it, but it missed out just by a little bit.
I want to try it. I actually haven't looked at the book. I'm curious what's in the game. All I know is the title, and then I'm immediately like, that sounds fun. I can't imagine a game called Thirsty Sword Lesbians not being incredibly fun.
True.
Yeah. Combat flirting is very much a mechanic and very strong.
Ooh.
It's like the whole like typical like sword play, but like, you know, like you're being all a fancy talk with them, and like you're like, is it they're coming on to me mid-sword fight? What's happening here? Like you see in like some of those older like movies where like, oh, they're just having a casual conversation. They're probably gonna make out after.
Fair. So, tell us about your journey through the TTRPG space. What made you kind of want to get involved in the TTRPG space?
Oh, honestly, it's just because I really enjoy playing tabletop games, and especially ones that are like the most mainstream. Like, of course, Pathfinder's mainstream-ish. Like, it's mostly mainstream, but like it pales in comparison, like Dungeons and Dragons. And I wanted to show off like other ones, like like Lancer, Icon, Fate, Exalted, all those types of games. I was like, I want to show them off, but like no one else is really talking about them, or at least no one who has like a lot of like following and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show other people like all these cool things that they could totally like look at. Cause like, there's a lot of people who are like, I'm gonna play D&D 5e, but I wish I was doing this other thing so I'm gonna hack it that way. I'm like, no, wait. Have you looked at Exalted Essence? You want to play a god? It's right there.
I
Immense
love.
respect for shouting out other tabletop games. That's something we try to do too.
Yeah,
There's so
I
many
mean,
good ones.
I've said many times, Pathfinder is the game I like the most, but I have no loyalty to Pathfinder. If another game comes out that I really enjoy, I'll cover it a ton. But we also are covering tons of Lancer. We have a ton of Lancer fans now. And Exalted, I love Exalted. I played Exalted for like almost 10 years, I think. I haven't played the new edition though, the second edition that came out. So
The newest edition of Exalted kind of sucks, in my opinion. And then they made Exalted Essence, which is just that but better.
Okay.
So like, I'd pick that one personally, because like Exalted, the third one, I think it's third edition, very much clunky. Like, it was a Kickstarter game. It had a lot of stretch goals, and those like added more to like how like clunky and chunky it is, and how like weird it is to feel and play. But then the Exalted Essence is like, let's streamline the whole thing, make it slightly more rules light-ish, and then just keep it going from there.
I've heard nothing but good things about Exalted, though mainly like I've just heard little bits of stories from the stuff you've done, Cam, on that game. It sounds super dope though. Though I personally am also absolutely trying to lead the charge into exposing more people to the best tabletop game that was ever made, Anima Beyond Fantasy, which is the greatest system that that's ever been made.
I've never heard that before.
It's almost like you made a video on that recently.
I did. Anima Beyond Fantasy is a Spanish system. It's incredibly anime inspired and horribly unbalanced in every aspect of the word. There's a lot of shit, and it's one of the only games where, like, for example, chronomancy is actual chronomancy. You can go back in time and change the timeline. That's ruled, like, statted out.
Oh no.
There's a spell that severs existence and it destroys something spiritually and physically, then does not explain what that means. It's great. I love this system so much. It's so over the top and goofy. It is fantastic.
I like it when like certain tabletop games are like made to not be taken seriously, just have fun and go at it. Instead of like, like it's always like it has to be perfectly balanced. Like, cause there's games, there's places for that, but like there's also places for like I want to be a goofy weirdo. Let's play the goofy weirdo game.
True.
I mean, Anima's a great game when everyone's on the same page. That's its biggest downside is it's
you have a power gamer.
Absolutely great, unless not everyone's on the right page, and then someone just completely throws everything off. It's very unfortunate.
You can make your own key abilities, and the key book itself that just details all of the rules on like the key power system directly name drops, hey, we just wanted you to like do the same stuff you could do in Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, Final Fantasy, Devil May Cry. You can just do that. Here you go. And you can just create your own bullshit. Like, yeah, I would like an ability that I throw a fireball and it carpet bombs a direct line for 60 miles. I would love that. Thank you, game.
I also ran Anima for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So good to have systems that actually have rules.
I can imagine.
But so it's talking about, trans players in the space. Are you involved with any like trans groups or anything specifically? I'm actually not aware.
Like directly like involved with like bigger groups and stuff like that. I'm too terribly shy to ever like interact with people myself, which is my biggest downfall as like a content creator, I think. Like I have to like sit there and be like, I don't want to talk to them because I feel like I'd be bothering them type of stuff. And then people come to me and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sounds cool.
But have you like at least been in those spaces before, been in the chat rooms, looked around, seen what people are talking about?
It's very similar to like other types of tabletop stuff, but like more involved with like good representation or just like anything really to like, hey, that guy from that Firebrand's book had like top scars. That's heckin' rad.
Yeah,
So, like,
okay. So what's been like the hardest thing about being like a trans player in the space?
There's a lot of old dudes that
Yeah.
aren't too happy
Yeah.
with what women being in tabletop games, let alone trans women being in tabletop games and stuff like that. And they completely ignore that trans men exist entirely, but that's a different type of like, oof.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just like a general backlash of people who are like aren't a fan of like it's OSR players.
Yeah.
It's mainly OSR players. I'll say that. But there are some like, crusty older like nerd types that are like, gross. I don't like things that are progressive-ish.
Yeah. It's always super unfortunate, and it's something that like it's easy to become super insulated if your personal groups don't have any people like that. We're very fortunate. We have groups that have pretty much all flags flying that I'm aware of. At the very least, it's only like 50% straight.
True,
Yes.
honestly.
Like, let's see. Yeah, pretty much 50% straight. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on the group. But yeah, so we have tons of people, and it's always a big thing, and it's something that like, even though I don't talk about it a ton, I'm more focused on just the things I enjoy, which is tabletop and talking about the rules and all that. It does mean a lot to me nonetheless, whether they're my players, my personal friends, or people we game with, that they get to be in the space and they get to have a say in what's going on. And I absolutely love that Paizo has great staff that are also trans, talking about their experiences and really adding to it. It's really good.
It's one of those things where it's like tabletop games nowadays, not only are they like seen as cool or like at least in to like enough people to be like, oh yeah, it's just a thing they do. It's not like a weird nerd hobby anymore. Or, like you have to hide away in your basement so people don't beat you up anymore. It's one of those things where it's like that, and it's become more welcoming and like opening because it's like an escape fantasy type thing where like I'm gonna go in this tabletop world and I'm gonna go and fight the bad mean guys and be who I want to be. Which is like very like a thing in like queer space and stuff like that. That's usually like they do with like fan fiction and stuff like that. But now you can just act it out. So like every other tabletop community I see is like at least half queer in some space, like some like type of capacity. So you generally have to like get rid of people if you want it to be like not that.
Yeah, and I mean,
Like,
to be fair, for what I is saying here, like, regardless, you're still talking about minority groups, you're still talking about people who are in the lower percentages, so sometimes you're just not going to play with them, and that's, understandable, but it's so good that so many people just feel their presence so much more in these spaces. It really shows, like, that tabletop is truly one of those open spaces that people can just enjoy some escapism, be what they want to be, and it's the place that honestly I think a lot of LGBTQA whatever people really can make this space work for them, because it's something that it doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters. Whoever you are, whatever you are, you're playing next to someone else who's pretending to be a goblin, for instance, or an elemental entity. So, like, who cares in the end?
Or for me, tiefling. I have 3 tiefling characters.
Yes.
I like tieflings, they're cool.
You don't want to look at my Pathfinder. There's at least 137 goblin characters.
Everyone, I feel like everybody has one. Like
They're
one
one thing
ancestry
that
that's
they
like
need to like. What's me?
I'm the most like plain white bread person. I love human characters.
I have a couple of human fighters in my own chat. I know how it is.
I've never played a human fighter actually before, not once. I love magic. I love occult stuff. Humans. The thing is like I don't have any problems with my identity. I actually really enjoy the person I am. So like when I play a character, I want to play a character I can really like get into the shoes of. You know what I mean? I don't have that urge. But that's why I bring people like you and other people into the space to, you know, to talk about these kinds of things as well, because I'm obviously the worst person to talk about this kind of stuff as a cis straight guy who plays mostly human characters.
And I'll say, like, it's not even an identity thing, it's just anyone in my friend group knows I'm just obsessed with anything that has to do with devils or demons. I'm a big, like, I guess there's a joke I saw where, that pops up every Pride Month with, anybody that plays a tiefling or ASMR in any game is just gay or has a lot of religious trauma. I was just raised Mormon. I have a lot of issues with Mormonism.
Sorry.
Obviously.
I have a lot of issues, period.
Yes, and pretty much. But one of my big issues when I was actually Mormon was I was always so fucking jealous of the imagery of other religions. Where I'm like, we got fucking basic white bread ass Joseph Smith in a suit and tie, and then you got stained glass windows, fire and brimstone, Satan poking you with a pitchfork. I'm jealous. It's so boring. And so I just like anything that is that level of hyper religious and weird, which is why I'm a big 40k fan. And then I see tieflings where I'm like, oh, devil heritage, don't mind if I do.
I can be the spooky guy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. And also it is also kind of fun to have to play something that's devilish and demonic when your entire life, like early life, is very built on shunning anything that's like slightly satanic or devilish, be it actually satanic related or perceived like Harry Potter.
It's so funny, like...
Go ahead.
It's just so funny, like, the dichotomy between, like, why certain people play, like, tieflings. It's, like, a lot of it is literally just, like, either, like, religious trauma or, like, because they're queer. And it's, like, for two very different reasons, usually. It's, like, I do it because, like, it's, like, queer people tend to do it because it's, like, they're used to being, like, prejudiced, they're used to, like, having all this stuff, and they having to go above that and, like, explain, like, no, I'm actually really cool, and this is how my stuff, and I'm gonna, like, prove you guys wrong type of stuff. And then religious trauma is, like, I had to run from this my whole life, and now I'm gonna be it, and it's rad.
Yeah, it's so rad. That's why all the characters I play are fucking slimy, charming tieflings. It's great.
Also, I do want to state, they revealed the other class, the Exemplar.
Oh boy.
They did.
That class.
It's so good. So the Exemplars, for those of you who are joining us in our chat, or who may be dual screening, you know, in which I appreciate, the Exemplar, you essentially play a demigod. It's just like demigod the class. Like, yeah, I'm so glad they mentioned Cucullin, because, well, I say that, but not many people know actually that much about Cucullin. It's
such about your nervous system with a stick. Ugh.
The rage. But I absolutely love this class. It is a charisma-based martial class, and you essentially get these things known as icons, and they can be a part of your body. They can be special items, and you can invest in them to get special abilities. You kind of get your divine relics, in a sense, that you can put your own divine spark into it. This class is also the first rare class in the game, which tells you they put some pretty cool stuff in it. So
and I love that it's rare, just because it's like there's like Gunslinger and Inventor are uncommon. And that's already weird in the fantasy setting. Usually, you have to go above and beyond to become rare. And like they're like, yeah, look at what's more above and beyond than a gunslinger or an inventor in this fantasy world. Oh, God.
Being a demigod.
You are God now. You are Hercules.
It's crazy. Do they use their fists? They can, and you can actually empower your body with one of the icons.
Yeah.
Cam, I like this. I like this class a lot.
I know you do.
I know you do. You have to let me play this one. I need to be this. I'm killing my goblin.
And the best part is
Exemplar, maybe.
because you're a demigod, you can be a demigod of like anything. Like you could skin this however you want. Alex, you can be the son of Satan if you really want to.
Oh my
Like-
god.
Like, I believe there's like different like subclasses. They're like, what type of like spooky boy are you gonna be? Are you gonna be like a nice boy, an evil meaner?
That is, oh my god, that's so fucking funny. So, I mentioned before we hopped in here, like, I gave Cam a list of things, just check off, give me a yes based on if I hit any of the tags. I asked, is it devil or demon related, has a gun, use their fist as a weapon, charisma based, or is really flashy and showboaty? So 3 of them, huh?
Yeah. I gave
Holy
you one
shit.
check mark.
They can use a gun.
I do just like when Gunslinger dropped, I was so hyped. I like Gunslinger characters so much. I'm a big fan of Western shit in any setting but a cowboy Western.
One of the biggest draws I've had towards Pathfinder has been either the deities that are really cool, like the prismatic array being like the lesbian polycule, or like Arshea being like the trans goddess, or we have a gunslinger class. Imagine how easy it's gonna be when I go like, hey guys, you wanna play Pathfinder? Like, what can you do with it? You can play a god.
Yeah, you can play a god. I didn't know we were playing
You're a wizard,
Exalted.
You're a demigod.
When we get in the Percy Jackson campaign, Cam.
Right. There's so much, and I haven't looked through all the playtest material yet. They are revealing some of the things. I don't know if they're going completely into the playtest material yet, so I'm gonna keep hush hush on that stuff. Obviously, also I just don't know. But what they're showing on here, there's so many really cool things. While everyone's been talking, I've been taking the time to look. And what's your Discord? I can send my portfolios there. Looking around camera costume. Maybe I can help you out with your Twitch custom graphics even more. Ooh.
Oh, it's an art book.
It might be.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, this account was created like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I get so many of those all the time.
Well, then why are they asking for my Discord? That's super weird.
Because I could take it over your Discord and then take your stuff off of it.
Yeah, they're trying some bullshit. They've been bad.
They've been banned.
If you're a real person, you can submit a report. And
I just don't know
tell
why a
them
bot would ask. Like, are they waiting for me to put my URL in the chat? It's very strange.
Yeah, just drop your Discord tag in a Twitch chat, dog. It's a great idea, right? Or now I guess it's just your username. I hate that
True.
change.
What's the other class, King Neo? The other class is the Animus. They can channel essentially spirits to gain unique abilities, get some skill proficiencies, get access to different spells. They're a divine wisdom-based caster.
Oh, I hope this means some divine spell casting is going to get added, because the divine spell list, I still feel needs a little bit of tuning.
I think so, too.
Well, actually, it's not going to exist anymore, so never mind, I guess. But
What do you mean? It's going to exist.
oh wait, no, that's not a spell school. Never mind.
Yeah, no, traditions are saying.
Okay, good. Yeah, the divine spell list was underwhelming when I was messing around with it. So
It sure is healing and buffing and nothing else.
I tried my first character, or I guess first character was a monk, but then my second character for an actual campaign was a tiefling, a devil sorcerer who had the divine spellcasting, and I was trying to be like a
That is literally what
DPS.
one of my friends is doing right now in the campaign. They're like level 15, and they're like, man, this kind of sucks.
It's rough. I made up for it by getting myself basically a bandolier of wands and just having like a wand for every occasion.
I love
I
the
just became like a
bandolier
cathartic
wands.
mage.
That's also another good method. But it
Actually,
was just like, damn, I like produce flame. Wish I had more
fair
stuff.
enough. Phoebe, what's your favorite class in Pathfinder?
Hear me out. For the past 4 years, it was monk. Just because it's like the most, like, it's really cool, like versatile. It could be super defensive or super bappy. It could get like a bajillion like saves. It's really tanky. It's really cool and versatile. And then they dropped Kineticist, so screw monk. No one likes monk anymore. Kineticist is my house. This is my house now. It's Kineticist's house.
I want to play Kineticist so bad. They look
I'm
really
playing
fun.
2 of them in 2 different actual plays.
Isn't your avatar a Magus?
They are Magus. Magus was
Yeah.
my second favorite.
Very interesting.
But,
I did not know that. I
Yeah.
also absolutely love monk. My favorite class is investigator, just because there's so many ways you can take investigator and be really, really cool. And skill-based class, because skills are so strong in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, investigator and rogue both feel real nice.
I'll never not love how the investigator literally just does the Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr. discombobulate as their whole entire attack thing.
I
Yep,
like that they went with that. It's really cool.
it's
It's
really
like
cool.
flavorful and it's fitting.
it's so fitting. I love the idea of investigator, but like just seeing the rules, I know I wouldn't mesh with it. But having an investigator in the party is always a delight. It is
Just
really
the fact
fun.
that the red herring feed exists, you can be like, "Hey DM, does this actually matter?" They're like, "No, leave the room, please."
Yeah.
That's just an instant win button.
Yeah, it does have some problems because it kind of goes beyond the scope of what players should know. But I think a good investigator can make a storyline just go so smoothly, buttery smooth. They're always right on track, or they always pick up the things that are strange.
And you just make colonial references the whole time, which is also fun.
That's literally the only investigator build I made was just making
One
Columbo.
more thing.
Just one more thing. Something's bothering me. I just to double check, I have an Imgur like link for my Pathfinder 2nd edition class tier list. Uh, and I just pulled it up, and apparently I have 5 downvotes on this list. I think it's pretty solid. Uh, I'd have to change it, but like my favorite classes are Psychic, Swashbuckler, and Gunslinger. And I guess some people are just mad that in shit tier is a Druid, Alchemist, and Champion. What can you do?
It's druid and shit there.
Nature magic is lame. I don't want to talk to plants. They don't
I
have
do love
anything interesting
champion
to
though.
say.
I love being a defensive, like I'll protect you type of class. Like I'm the healer and the tanker usually tank-ish. But like I like making my friends not die.
I do want to mention while I was saying that, my partner walked into my computer room who owns and enjoys a lot of plants and was just angrily shaking their head at me as I said that. But yeah, I don't like nature magic. I don't understand how alchemist works. It's really complicated, and champion is not like 5e paladin, so I'm upset.
I hear that so much, and I'm like, good. 5e paladin is fucking stupid.
But I want my 4d8s on my attack.
I bet you do, you crit fisher.
It's so fun.
Like, oh hey DM, look, you like this boss that you spend 4 hours making? Not anymore.
In
Yeah,
our campaign we did of Out of the Abyss in 5e, I soloed a demon lord and it was fucking awesome. Or at least I didn't solo it, but it was every time this demon was like, all right, I gotta go fuck up the back line with the healers and wizards, I would do a smite so strong that's no, look at me, I'm your threat. And it was so cool. It felt so great.
I'm sure
Yeah,
it
but now
did.
you do that in a different way. You're like, look at me. You can't hurt anyone but me. Hit me. I'm your threat.
That's what I want.
Uh,
I like tanking by sheer volume of damage.
Also, Iron Warrior, you've come to the right place. Welcome. This is the TTRPG space. In fact, anyone who might be interested, you can join our Discord linked in the description on YouTube or below on Twitch. There's all kinds of people joining the channel every day. We got people forming groups all the time. So if you want a chance to play with some people online, it's a great place to be. Plus, we just got some really cool people. We got Phoebe here as well as some other people in chat.
I guess real quick, Cam, counterpoint for this welcome. He mentioned the Iron Cage incident. As an Imperial Fist fan, I'm upset.
Well, too bad it's
hurts.
Warhammer only channel.
Stop reminding me it happened. I can't deal with it. My YouTube audience yells about it enough.
Yeah, it's goodness. We got so much cool stuff. And talking about some of the stuff they revealed. So someone in the chat, someone we know, mentions that they're releasing not only a divine wisdom based class, but also a demigod. They are both playing important parts both of those classes are playing important parts in the next essentially product line of this whole gods and the death of a god and fighting of immortal powers. So I'm sure they're also going to be a big part of the new adventure path coming out around the same time. Next, I just made my video not too long before stream, and it didn't click with me until just now that they have a arcane book, they have a occultism book, they have a primal book, so we're missing a divine book. So we're gonna get probably a really nice, cool, big divine book with all kinds of cool things for divine characters and divine aspects for characters like champions and now the 2 new classes and maybe even Oracle a little bit. So it's real good. I'm very excited.
I'm excited too, because like this book's set to come out like right after Player Core 2 drops, which is where they do the retouching of the champions. So I wonder what they're gonna do with that, and then add more onto it immediately right after.
Oh, I need to do another class tier list video. I want to rework it a bit because I made it like almost 2 years now, I think. And go ahead.
I don't even know where I'd put the kineticist because it's literally just like the anything class.
I don't know. I don't know about an anything class. It's still not a martial. Its single target damage is not as good as most of the other martials is concerned.
Yeah, but the flexibility you have can let you, like, I can be a tanker while also be a healer and also blowing people with fireballs at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like along the lines of
where do I put this?
It's definitely along the lines of like a caster class, which is I think Kineticist is overall just a very superb class, and I can't wait for some of the other classes. I can't wait for Alchemist to get some tweaking because Alchemist is already really strong.
Please, I want it to feel not bad to play. The worst part about the Alchemist class in Pathfinder 2 is the fact that it's the first class you see in the book, like the core rule book, and it's also a class like everybody I've ever shown Pathfinder 2 is like, I want to play an Alchemist, and I had to look at them in the eyes and be like, you're just brand new to this game. You're not allowed to play the Alchemist. You'll hate your entire life this whole time. I know it sounds cool. I know it's the first thing you saw, but scroll down a little bit more, please.
I did that. I opened up Path Builder and I'm like, ooh, Alchemist sounds fun. And then I read it and I'm like, my eyes are glazing over. I don't know what this means. I don't like this.
It's so unfortunate that it's really cool, only if you have deep Pathfinder knowledge, which is like problematic when it's the first thing you see when you open up the book is like, Alchemist, here's a weird goblin scrungly boy. And you're like, oh, I want to be a scrungly boy too. Oh god, I gotta do weird stuff. I gotta know all these 89 different consumables to do.
Yeah, and I agree. It just has a little bit too high of a curve, and not that to say that classes like that can exist, right? There should be classes for everyone. People who do like the very in-depth, nitty-gritty kinds of classes like the Alchemist. I almost forgot. Thanks Lumigosa for the follow on Twitch. But like it's just a little much. And to be fair, most classes they've been releasing have been a little bit more on the technical side. I was kind of hoping some of these new classes being released. Granted, the Exemplar does not look super complicated. So we'll see how it actually turns out, but
I think there should be complicated classes too, but like I feel like the Thaumaturge and like the Kineticist are like complex in a way that is easy to understand comparatively to Alchemist, where it's like you have 56 regions. You can make anything with them. Here is zero guidance on what to do with them.
I agree, but again, even then, I believe that a class like that does have a place to exist.
Oh yeah, it should be the first thing you see at the minutes you play Pathfinder 2. It's like, how to make a character? Here's the first thing. You see Goblin Scrungle, and you see explosion bombs. You're like, I want to be a scrungly goblin that explodes things. And you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh no, I gotta play this for the next 6 months.
There is a reason why the remaster is not putting Alchemist in the first place.
I'm so happy, dude. You don't understand how happy I am that I want to be like, here's the core rulebook, open it up. And they're like, oh, wow, cool. Bard.
Yeah. Bard's also a sick class.
It's
Bard is such a good support class, but it's like, you press, you're like, cool, I use Dirge of Doom, and then I cast Dissonant Whispers, and that's my turn. Versus like, all right, pushes up glasses. Let me see. I have 32 regions left. I have already given my fighter the consumable to heal him, and also a bomb for him to throw. Anyways, I will go and do this turn. Maybe if all goes well, I could maybe not kill myself with splash damage while I do 2 damage to the enemy.
It's a lot more than that. Alchemist.
And you're just like, sitting there. You're like, what's happening?
I'm playing in Kingmaker. I'm going to be playing an Alchemist, and I'm going to be a war axe wielding dwarf with a axe all hooked up with tubes that shoot various elements at people. And I'm going to be smoke most of the time, and enemies are going to have to flat DC 7 check to hit me at all times. It's going to be great.
I'm really hoping that they make it kind of similar to the Inventor, where they just get scaling crafting like stuff.
I hope so too. Please, scaling crafting. It sucks that Alchemist.
It feels so bad.
You don't have to invest in crafting with Alchemist, except if you're a Kaijin. Because you don't need crafting actually, unless you're making bombs in your like spare time. Everything else doesn't require a check or anything. So.
But it's still like that feeling of Inventor doesn't use it either, but they get it for free extra, and it like their class like actually like has like a button where it's like I press the crafting button to make myself like a barbarian rage, where the Alchemist is like I only have expert in my strikes and I miss with all of my bombs.
Yeah, the expert in strikes I think is going to end up changing.
Just give them master. Yeah, just bombs maybe, or a crossbow question mark. Just like give them a little taste of like salvation.
Let somebody play the TF2 medic with that one syringe crossbow. Just give that to.
You can do that easy.
Oh like yeah, just make it better. Like let them hit better.
Make it work on a crossbow instead of a blowgun.
But see, the thing is like
blowgun feet.
They can even do like they can be almost as good as marshals with their mutagens. Like it's just something that people don't understand. But the item bonus they get from like the Quicksilver mutagen, for instance, gives them an item bonus one higher than the item bonus everyone else gets. So they're actually, even though they're a little bit under everyone, they're almost as good and also as dynamic and flexible as a caster.
You're just gonna spend your first turn pulling out the thing or making it and drinking it, and then maybe throwing a bomb after you
don't have to. They added an item in Treasure Vault
they added the injection collar in Treasure Vaults if you have Treasure Vaults and know what that is. If you're like a baby player who doesn't know what the collar to stab yourself is.
I agree.
It was like this one item makes your class semi-functional. You're like, where is it? The 15th book that they released.
Well, to be fair, you could also just get mutagens that last forever. So.
Oh yeah, but like it's still one of those things where it's like, man, I'm sure glad, but like by the time you get mutagens that last forever, you're already past the point where it is helpful in the beginning to know that you have that option.
Well, you get them that. Well, anyway, let's not make this an Alchemist stream, shall we? I can guarantee without a shadow of a doubt, Alchemist plays really, really well. But I will also acquiesce and say they're also just not meant for like 99% of players.
They are a class that is very effective if you know what you're doing, but they are on the list of the couple Pathfinder classes of hello new player, here's the list of classes, don't pick these ones. These are
don't pick this one. Stay if you want to play Summoner, I have to explain it to you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean
the other one is Oracle or
Oracle. It's like please only pick these 3 mysteries. The rest are gonna hurt you more than they help you, and you're gonna hate it.
Like just play another character first. Just try something different. Which
at
least
is you're the cleric.
Yeah.
In my beginner video, I'm like, don't mess with any of these 3 classes, or 4 actually, because I added Magus. Because Magus, I feel, is a bit of a player trap. It can turn really unfun if you don't understand the action economy well.
That was my experience. I went into Magus wanting my 5e paladin. I did not get that, and so I changed characters for our actual play into a wizard where I'm having way more fun. Because wizards do feel pretty fucking cool in Pathfinder. I like Pathfinder spellcasting a lot. It's so much better than other game spellcasting where I just kind of feel annoyed because I really can't stand save or suck style shit. I like that even if they succeed, I at least helped a little. I did something.
You're still frightened one. That's all that matters.
I'll take something. Though it doesn't matter when I keep making our bosses cry magically.
What?
Yeah.
I have my cone, like the wave of despair, whatever it is. It makes them slowed, and
Crushing
because
despair.
they're just it just makes them
crushing
sob uncontrollably. And I've hit 2 pretty scary bosses with that. Immediately
They're just
under
staring at you with
tension.
tears in their eyes. They're like, wow, why am I here? I miss my wife.
It's
We
great.
had a 2-headed troll, and just one of the heads was sobbing uncontrollably.
Like, bro, what's wrong with you, bro? Like, what the hell?
It's great. I love bringing guests on who enjoy the game, talking about it as much as we can. Plus, we got 2 new classes to do all kinds of content on. I'll be releasing some videos on the material starting tomorrow, so I'm gonna be very, very busy. And
Because the place has to drop tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow, like
Yes.
10 a.m. I think EST.
I need to read the Exalted. I want that so bad.
the Exemplar.
Exemplar. I want that. I want to read it.
It's
I
so
want to
cool. I took the day off tomorrow so I can make like so many videos about it.
Fair. Very fair.
This is what I do, so I'm just gonna be busy. I'm glad that I mostly gamed myself out of Baldur's Gate and Armored Core at this point. Still doing some more Armored Core. Almost get to my new game plus done soon. But now there's just not this voice in the back of my mind saying, play more games, play more games. What are you doing? These games are awesome. Please play more games. Excuse me. It's
One
really
that's
good.
been hurting is I'm like, do I pick up the Starfield special edition so I can play it tomorrow? I want my one of my other guilty pleasure games, Bethesda games. It's like junk food.
I forgot that Starfield was coming out because like no one has been talking about it that I've seen at all.
The strongest critique I've heard about Starfield from anyone that's played it and did something around review embargo is Starfield will truly be one of the games of all time.
It does just look like a generic like Bethesda-ass game where everything
Yeah.
feels like, oh, am I playing Oblivion again?
And I am a person who, whenever I'm extra anxious or stressed out, I mod Fallout New Vegas
I was
or
gonna say.
So Starfield appeals to me because I want to mod it. That's all I care about.
I've been getting gamer envy. It's unfortunate. I was like, I'm not super interested. And then people have been talking about it. I'm like, okay, maybe. I have played a bunch of the other Bethesda games, like a fair amount, so I will
I've
probably
played a good
enjoy
chunk.
it.
I have so many hours in Fallout New Vegas split between my Xbox to the point where the disc does not work anymore, and just on Steam. I would say have over like 600 hours.
I have so many saves on my old PS3 of New Vegas that cannot function anymore because of like the PS3 version has a terrible memory leak that like
Yeah.
makes the game run at 2 FPS. So
Woof.
after you get to like 100 hours in it, so I have like 50 of those where it's just like, man, I can't play the game anymore. I'm gonna go start a new playthrough.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, new playthrough time. I can't wait to do something different, and it's nope, Independent New
I can't believe
Vegas.
I'm in New Vegas again.
Yeah, time to hang out with Yes Man again.
I've completed one NCR one. And the rest, I was like, Independent Vegas, this is cool. Screw you, house. You suck.
You are far stronger than I am. The moment they're like, wipe out the Brotherhood of Steel, I turn my camera and look at Veronica, and I'm like, I can't do it.
That's why I didn't.
Also, thanks for being here, AC. I don't know if they're still here, but I figured I'd mention. And as well, yeah, Iron Warrior. It's unfortunately, if you like Alchemist, the thing to know is that you don't learn about your class in the Alchemist section. You learn about your class by reading out chemical items. That's how you play the class, is completely in the equipment section of the game.
Yeah.
On Archive of Nethys, preferably, so that you have all the items
Mhm.
available to you.
At the very least, Pathfinder is a game where it's like you do have that moment of damn, I'm too new to play this class. People keep saying not to. There are 5 other incredibly dope classes right around the corner. Like there's so many cool ones: Kineticist, Thaumaturge, Psychic, which I still need to play. I need to really just make a Psychic character. Monk is fantastic. I think Monk is one of the best newcomer classes. Like it's definitely on that list. It feels
especially
very
coming
easy.
from like D&D 5e Monk, where it's like, man, I sure am subpar the whole game. Versus it's like, I am the coolest guy I've ever seen ever this entire game.
I really love the mountain stance, like so much.
I literally just in my actual play game where an Earth Kineticist, I was a mountain stance kinetic like monk for like the first like 5 sessions, and then I was like, all right, now time to swap to like what is it, Earth Kineticist? It's my fate, like just to be like, I'm the chunk master. You're not moving me, but I'm moving you. I'm getting my wrestler archetype. Nothing, no one's surviving these gams of steel.
I love archetypes too. Archetypes truly make Pathfinder, I think, as unique as it is. Because it's very well designed in every quality, but archetypes just add another layer. Free archetype? Come on, if you're not using that rule, you're just not playing the game. What else I gotta say? It's so good, and there's just so many different characters you can play thanks to free archetype. It's just such a good game. This is why I talk about it all the time, is because Pathfinder is a really good game.
This is why I'm glad I annoyed my friends when Pathfinder 2e came out to like, we're gonna play this game instead of 5e.
Good.
Because I was the DM at the time, and I was getting burnt out because we played T&D 5e from like release to Pathfinder 2e's release in 2019. We're like, all right, I'm getting kind of burnt out of this. So let's try this other game real quick. Let's see how cool it is. And I instantly killed him with Fall of Plaguestone.
Nice.
With the Acid Wolf immediately, the first encounter, I instant one-shot the Gnome Ranger and their Velociraptor fucking animal companion. Instantly, they're just gone. And I was like, well, let's try not Plaguestone. And then it was like, oh, this is way better.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed D&D 5th edition until I played Pathfinder 2nd edition. And then I was like, oh... This is just a
it really is one of those things where you're like, cool, this is really fun. Let's try other things. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, literally.
This is what I want, but like, not as hard.
I like one specific version of 5th edition that a good friend of mine runs. I like that version.
I hate that that's like such a feel, that's a mood, because it's like every time I've talked to someone, like, I like this, and you're like talking about them for a while, and you're just like, I don't think you're playing the D&D 5e anymore. I think you're playing like your like DM's like cooler like D&D 5e that they made after like playing it for 5 years.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like my...
Which is like,
my,
which I like how like it's modular and you can do that. It's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like people are signing up to like D&D 5e and like this is not what that is, but like it's better.
Yeah, I really enjoy my bard who has, you know, some really fun abilities with specifically added in as a big thing he does is once you get to a certain level cap, you ascend as a character and just kind of increase in power. I have a symbiote, like Venom symbiote loot that I'm like melded with, and I also have giant AoE stuff. Whenever I do any action that requires me to play music, I immediately emit an AoE that gives some sort of buff, like +10 movement speed and +2 to initiative, +1 or +2 to attack and damage rolls. Like
That is so cool.
a giant AoE that gives people resistance to charm and frighten effects for 60 feet. It is very handy, and it's like, damn, I feel useful.
You can definitely see that D&D is a flawed game. When Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and everyone absolutely loves the game, but then everyone's just like, why would you play anything other than Paladin? And it's just like, yeah.
Or
It's
just
so
like,
fun.
or it's bad when people are like, man, the story's great, but I'm not a fan of the gameplay, and you're like, ugh.
I like what they've done to mess with 5e stuff, but you're still like, this is still 5e though.
That was me when I was like, cool, they made Monk OP as shit. That's my favorite class ever. I'm glad they did that. If only I could do that in the tabletop. If only it wasn't like limited to just Larian's vision.
True, right. goodness. But we've done a lot of game talk. Let's talk a little bit more on some trans players in the space. So you know quite a few of them. Any trans like content creators actually that you want to shout out that you may have watched that maybe other people wouldn't be as enticed to watch, normally speaking, or anyone to follow on Twitter or anything like that, just to get some more people out.
Because I know a lot of them, but I always draw blanks when it comes to names.
I feel you there. My brain works purely on context. Names, if they don't mean anything, I'm just like, I forgot.
Like, it'll always be like, I know this person's name. It's like on the tip of my tongue for like 30 minutes, and I'm like,
I am only good at memorizing in-game character names. If it's a person's actual name, I'm so bad that I've built up my defense of purposefully never referring to people by their names unless I absolutely have to, so that no one expects it. So I can have full conversations with people and be like, I don't know who the fuck this is.
I'm not afraid to ask because I'm just like, I'm a dumbass. I forgot your name. Could you please tell me again? I have no shame in my short memory. It's a problem that everyone else has to worry about.
That's specifically what I did too. It's like, yeah, don't refer to my full name. Alex is fine. It's 2 syllables. It's so easy and short.
Yeah, I have a 3-syllable name, so everyone just calls me Cam.
It's easier.
It is easier, which is I'm totally fine with. I've had more nicknames than I can count. Cameron is such an easy name to come up with nicknames for. And I love that I made the Bad Luck Gamer channel, and then people called me BLG unprompted. I'm like, yes, perfect. I love BLG. It's just, it just works.
My favorite thing about my community is that a lot of people before, like, they never remembered my name. Because, like, this is before I became a tabletop creator. This is just me on Twitter. And, like, I have a cool Goblin character that I like to play in Pathfinder. I'm gonna get art of them and post it on there. And then they're like, cool. It's the Knife Goblin. They just know me because my knife had like a very distinct design. It's like, oh cool, it's me, the one with the knife. And then later they're like, oh, it's Phoebe, the Knife Goblin.
It's Phoebe, the Knife Goblin. Don't forget, you gotta say the whole name.
There's a title there.
Like I didn't come up with that. Everyone's like, oh, it's Goblin with the knife, because it said like all of my artwork, because that's my character's like main thing. They love that knife a lot because they got it from their parents. And then it's like, eventually over time, it was like, Phoebe, the Pathfinder Goblin. And I'm like, I'm getting somewhere. They're learning.
Meanwhile, my community, I go by so many things except for Glue Boy in my comments, apparently. It's glue or any like conceivable synonym of the word Glue Boy. Just switching out the name, like the words to just have whatever you want. Elmer's Child, stuff like that. That's at least a Friends version that he always does.
Yeah. And nice, Lumi. Excited. The playtest is huge. I'm glad Phoebe could be here for us, or here with us when we're talking about the new playtest up. I also wish we could just talk all about one subject or the other. Both are, I think, equally valid in this case. All the hype around the new classes, but also making sure that our fellow trans players are heard and can be seen in the space. Ooh, Exemplar greater than Kineticus. Fight me, gamers.
I might agree once I see the playtest. Because I think
the
Kineticus
playtest.
is cool.
It's kind of neat.
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't know if it can scratch my like kineticist. It's just I like throwing rocks at people. Like that's literally my entire reason for letting kineticist since 2019 is we've been like, oh, a way to throw rocks at people, but in a funny way. Like imagine killing a dragon by throwing a rock at its head. That's me. I'm rock throwing girl. And then I don't know where it's like I'm a demigod. I'm like, how big of rocks can you throw?
Be a god of
True.
rocks. Like the child of a god of rocks.
I could be a rock god, but like, can I throw rocks, or do I have to use my weapon instead of throwing rocks?
Can one of my icons be a rock? Can I go Sisyphus?
The big boulder. She's like, what is it? What is that one? Like the chain ball weapon. Just be like that with a rock.
Oh yeah. I don't know if that.
That's
has
actually a really
specific
cool
names.
character concept. Goddamn.
I did learn recently
Meteor
that.
hammer.
Oh, Meteor Hammer. Yeah, that's true. I did learn dwarves actually have a really cool weapon that is just like that, actually. I can't remember what it is, but I was looking into it because of my dwarf alchemists.
Like the weird combination weapon where they just yeet the ball and chain at you.
Let's see, what is that weapon called? It's actually really cool, but man, am I bad with names. Dwarf weapon. It is the this is why I can't remember.
Wrecker.
It's the Dorndurger. Dorndurger.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the wrecker.
There's that. Well, the wrecker I think is just it's just a different one that's attached to an arm brace that they can swing around.
That is true.
It has a ranged variant that you can just shoot at people. But yeah, it's
just a hammerhead attached to a chain that you swing at people.
Yep.
It's so dumb. I love it.
Hey, EOG wrote. Elder Societas Gaming wrote an archetype for the Dorn. It's a cool as fuck weapon. I agree. I think it's really cool. If I wasn't playing an alchemist, it'd be a lot more interesting. But I need one of my hands.
Just don't. You put the hand away. Get a third arm.
True.
That's the real solution.
Unfortunately, Pies was very hesitant to give players multiple arms.
Well, I don't know if you've checked out the Starfinder 2E playtest, like field test document, but there's 4 arms in there.
True. They have prosthetics. True. This is a great thing about the game, right? When everyone gets into a chat and just starts talking about their favorite classes, ancestries, whatever, like they're all worth something. Unless unlike D&D, you're talking and you're just like, I love my paladin, and then the person sitting next to you's like, yeah, I love paladin too. Maybe
Man,
someone
I'm sure
else will
glad
be
that
like,
I'm a paladin player.
maybe the next person will be like, oh, but have you played wizard though? Because
I was about to say wizard though, and you have like the 2 people in the back who are like the chillest dudes you ever played with, and you're like, I play ranger, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I love you.
Please leave.
Until you can smite, please leave.
Talk
Your
to me when
hunter's
your
mark
class
are cool,
works
but like,
actually after level 10.
If you can't smite,
what
or
do you
cast
mean? At level
fireballs,
10
I
they
don't
can
care.
get that rogue feat, but they get a 3.
Yeah.
True.
I feel so bad for 5e rangers because it's literally just like I'm getting all these cool rogue and druid features 10 levels after they got them.
Yeah. It's really sad because Ranger was one of my favorite classes in first edition Pathfinder, actually, because I really loved first edition's version of the Ranger, and it didn't completely translate over, which I'm very sad. I liked the type of Ranger that could take on aspects of their prey. It was very, very cool. But I think the current Ranger is really good. I think not a lot of people give Outwit as much props as it should, because Outwit Ranger is really good.
Outwit is so cool. And then you look at Flurry Ranger and you're like, I can attack 5 times a turn?
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with Flurry Ranger. It's just an objectively powerful class variant. But Outwit, you can do a lot of cool narrative stuff, which I thoroughly enjoy.
I love how they're like, how do we translate Pathfinder's first edition Ranger to second edition with their cool action system and all this stuff? And they look at Stalker and they just erase the name and put Ranger.
Yeah, pretty much. I had a piece of art of an ASMR Ranger yoinked by a big-time D&D TikToker. Rough. Man, it's something that I hope. I hope we're in this kind of Genesis period for tabletop in general, where D&D keeps fucking up and people start playing other games. Pathfinder, but some other ones as well.
It's so good for me because I be people like, man, I want to play this tabletop. I want to play D&D, but I wish it was more like my favorite JRPGs. And I look at them and I'm like, have you heard of Fabula Ultima?
Yes!
I want to hear about it.
I've been trying to get
us.
I've been trying to get everyone to play Fabula Ultima for a bit now.
It's so good.
I want to play.
The art is so pretty. It's just such a good game.
I wish I need more time in my day, which I don't have that much of. Like, I would totally do a session 0 if, for whatever reason, we have to call off our Tuesday Pathfinder, and I can still make it. I will 100% do some Fabula Ultima. They have guns in the game, so I'm interested.
But I
Just take the sleep out of your schedule.
Yeah, just don't sleep. Easy.
I can't fit any more games into my schedule unless
I'm wasting 8 hours sleeping.
if only we didn't have to.
I wish every day.
What we might do is we might do a one-shot of Fabula Ultima between our tabletop seasons, because we're almost done with Riptide Season 2. We got like a handful of episodes left, and then we're going to be moving on to Vampire the Masquerade for a couple months, which is going to be really fun.
I love Vampire the Masquerade.
I'm so excited to bring back my my Disco Elysium inspired Malkavian.
Oh.
He's a really good investigator because he talks to everything, and he has the specific style of feeding that he only does it to like sleeping people, and he also robs their homes. Because he'll walk into a house and then like just kind of call out quietly, "Is there anything valuable here?" And then you'll hear a faint "I'm valuable" like up in the upper rooms. So he'll make his way over, talk to the lock in the safe to tell him the password, stuff like that.
That's honestly great. I've always been a gangrel player because I'm always like, I want to be the weird crunchy hippie of the group that also makes animals. Like, here's my weird dog.
Yeah. You strike me as a gangrel. But it's so much, like, there's so many good tabletops, and one of the reasons why, like, first of all, live plays, unless you're, Critical Role or Dimension 20, live plays just don't do well on any platform. It's just fact. It's good though, because we can play whatever and it doesn't really change how well we do either way. So it just gives me the opportunity to, every other season, we play a different game. And people who are interested in that game, who come watch the videos I make after doing the season, can be like, I want to play this game, but I want to see how it's played first. Bam, we have a whole season you can look at, like 10 to 15 episodes that you can look at these new games. So hopefully in the future, Variety Tabletop becomes a little bit more, marketable, and I can move to a purely Variety Tabletop, because my god, there's so many good tabletops. I mean, Pathfinder's great, don't get me wrong, that's why I talk about it all the time. But, there's so many good games.
I want to do like a Lancer, like actual play type steez, because I think that'll be really fun and cool with how like fast-paced the game can be and stuff like that, and like it's just so cool to like see and like have it play, but like nobody knows what Lancer is. I'm the person supposed to tell people that Lancer exists.
Right. I've been making Lancer videos recently. I actually had to make some Armor Core / Lancer videos for people who want to do Armor Core builds in their Lancer game. And everyone's been like, thank you for making Lancer content. Thank you so much. We actually, our last live play was a Lancer game, and it was a lot of fun.
I adore Lancer, and I also think that one benefit that you can have when it comes to like actual play stuff, and specifically actual play that kind of are all done through Discord calls rather than in person. I think with a sci-fi setting, especially through mechs with comm systems, you can do so much work on Discord to really set the tone. I still think a really fucking cool concept for a like at least a segment of the Lancer battle is the idea of comms are down, so the players cannot communicate their actions like to each other, and all they can see is the game board as they're like going around trying to be coherent.
That does sound really, really cool. I do love the thought though of like your characters like mech exploding and then like their comms just shut off against like in Gundam and stuff like that where it's like
Yeah. The big explosion like POV thing.
And then like their screen thingy that has like their face or whatever that cuts out and you're like, oh no, they're dead.
That would be, I mean, someone did make an overlay for that on
for Armored Core.
6. Yeah,
I saw that on Twitter.
It looks so cool.
I want to do that, but I don't play Armored Core.
I love Armored Core so much. Goodness.
I can't wait. I finally got access to the good handgun, so now I can make a Rayleigh in Armored Core.
True. The handguns. Go ahead.
I was just saying, the Rayleigh was how I got one of my friends into Lancer, because they're like, oh, gunslingers are cool. I'm like, yeah, look at this. It's a big 2-story tall one with a 6-iron in their chest.
It's so fun.
Lancer just has so many good mechs.
I had my mech Texas Red, and it was a great time.
That's such a good mech name.
Yeah, and then the other one I built was Uranium Fever, a World Killer Genghis, and that is another great time.
That's awesome. I've always played. I'm obsessed with playing really small stuff that should not exist but do. As you can see, I'm a goblin. Like I love the Atlas mech, and also it's on the tip of my tongue. Doomslayer mech.
Doomslayer mech.
Isn't that the Caliban? The shotgun?
Yeah, Caliban.
Yeah,
Caliban is so good.
It's so cool.
I thought you were going to say Goblin. I thought you were playing Goblin for a second there.
No, I hate Goblins so much because I'm not a fan of tech and magic stuff, usually. Ooh. Which makes me sad because the Goblin one is all about exclusively tech stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I want to punch him in the head. So I gave the Zhang's punch fist to my Caliban. So the mech is like half the size of the fist. And he just runs someone and punch them at 90 miles an hour.
That's awesome. See, now this is exactly what this stream should be, which is this is a stream talking about Pathfinder's new classes and also, trans players in the space. And you know what happens? We brought a trans person here to talk about the thing, and you know what we did? We geeked out about games, all kinds of games, and just had a regular good old time. It's not that hard. People just it's something that like it's silly that we still need to have these conversations. That what doesn't matter whoever plays your games, honestly. The OSR people need to go and fight dirt.
It is also one of those funny things where like the Lancer Discord filters out problematic players by just having the banner in the Lancer Discord be a goblin dabbing in front of a trans flag.
Yeah.
That's how they filter out bad players, is they see the flag and they leave, and they're like, cool, everyone else is in there talking about mechs.
Yeah, it was, I got invited to the Lancer server through a friend. Just like, oh yeah, come pop in this, like, when they were telling me about how cool the system is, I joined the server, that's the first thing I see, and it's like, okay, cool. So this is just going to be a nice community then. Thank God.
And that's all it takes. People will be like, gross, I'm not going to look at that. And you're like, cool, we did it. We did our job good. It's like my one friend who's an artist at the bottom of their commission sheet having, it's cool to punch Nazis, a checkbox you have to pick.
Yeah.
That just instantly filters out bad people immediately.
Sorry, I was checking the Discords. Man, everyone's getting super hyped. We got a lot of people just popping off in the Discord. It's... this...
Oh yeah, mine's going nuts.
Maybe we should do something like that too. Definitely. It's just been a lot. A lot of this is a one-man job with some occasional help here and there. Definitely, I think during the next LGBTQ month, we might do like a trans flag or something, BLG symbol. I'd have to make it though, but definitely it does sound like. And there's a time like we had to kick someone out of our own Discord at one time because they're just using problematic language, and I was just like, all right, please stop, and they didn't stop. I had to kick them. Just how it is. Even if they don't think it's a problem, it doesn't matter.
You gotta police nerd circles. As someone who is in the Warhammer 40k space.
Yeah, oh no, I did want to mention the Warhammer stuff because I know nothing about the game just because the community has turned me off of it. There's
two camps of it. There's just normal people who enjoy the game, and then the Twitter weirdos. But primarily I am buddies with some at least similar sized 40k content creators, and I'm actually a mod in their server, and we recently just had a discussion of like, hey, we have some stuff that's kind of crossing some lines. Where do we want to draw it? And a very clear like statement between mods of this is our stuff. Any bigotry in this community is immediately axed. As I was told by the server owner, if anyone pulls some racist shit, go full Custodes on them. I was like, okay, cool.
It's always such a weird thing in the 40k community because Warhammer 40k was like, let's make fun of fascism, the tabletop game, and not take it seriously at all. Like for the first 20 years, it wasn't serious at all, and then they started releasing more serious stuff about how hey, this is pretty neat, And it's like, oh, now the fascists are coming here. They don't realize it's a joke. Yeah, they don't look at the orcs and think it's funny. They're like, yeah, I like those, and you're like, oh.
It's an immediate thing. I'm always like, that's a red flag because 40k is a setting that is very depressing, very grimdark, but to the point where it becomes comedy. And like any good comedy, it has its large scale of serious moments. There are parts in Warhammer that are genuinely emotionally touching. Sitting down and actually reading, or in my case listening to the Istvan 3 incident, where it is a really brutal telling of a horrific war crime and the effects it's having on a bunch of people's just as they watch as it's happening and they're about to get killed. It's really depressing. You're like, damn. And then you look at the orcs and they're like, yeah, we hollowed out an asteroid, put a rocket booster on it, and are launching it hoping we hit a planet. Let's go, boys. It's like, there we go. It's so over the top, it loops around to being just funny. And people that are take it all very seriously or just LARP as 40k stuff, it's an issue. But then for every community like that, there are always just a pretty sizable group that are, hello, we're normal. We just like the game because it's fun.
And it's just a weird thing. The reason why there's no aliens and it's all humans in Lancer is because of 40k people making it weird. And being kill all the Xenos. And you're like, all right, we're going to get rid of anything that's not human because you guys can't be trusted to not be weird and racist with it.
That's actually very sad.
It's terrible. That's very sad.
That's depressing.
I do like Lancer's setting idea of humans have gone this far, why have we not found anything else? And they've alluded that there's some alien artifacts as well. So I like the mystery.
They've talked about how all the aliens were already killed off, so you can't do it yourself, you weirdos.
Yeah. Which is sad that had to happen for sure.
That's depressing. It's always a major shame whenever I hear people's bad experiences with the 40k community, because good lord, they exist. There are a couple accounts on my radar that is I fucking hate them so much, visceral hate. But there are so many just chill people. For me, I don't know if anyone here, if you just actually want a pretty safe, chill 40k area, I do YouTube content on 40k. I do make a point to make sure if I see any actual a bigotry in my comments, it's gone immediately. That does not fly. I do my best to make a very accepting community because it should be. It's a fun nerd space where we can nerd out. It should be safe.
Yeah, everyone should be safe. It's one of the reasons why this particular, meetup with Phoebe here is important. I'm very excited because, I have some trans players. Having them be seen in the space is important. Pathfinder is also just a really fun game, and Phoebe's been absolutely wonderful the whole time we've been talking with her, and as well just nerding out about tabletop stuff, which is, what we're all here for in the end. It's important that you can have spaces where you can just have conversations, because we've had a ball of a time just talking nerd stuff. You already have brought up so many of the tabletop games I love or have played. I mean, like, there's nothing different between us. We're just gamers in the tabletop space. And you're a goblin, I guess, but
It's one of those things where it's like, I know so many people who are like trans people that love 40k, but are also afraid to interact with the community. Just because, like, the very vocal minority can be really bad and mean, especially the instant you bring up the fact that there could potentially maybe ever be a woman space marine will, like, light the entirety of Twitter 40k on fire.
If it's ever trending on Twitter, that's why. It's immensely annoying because, like, good lord, I see there are three camps of it. There's the people who don't want, ew, icky, space marine, a woman? No thank you. And then there's the people who are, we really want this, like, we want token representation. We want to have this very cheapened thing where it's almost like mandate one female space marine every book, and then they exist. Okay, that doesn't fix the problem.
D&D?
Yeah, literally. And, like, this doesn't fix anything. All you've done is kind of like slap a band-aid on an open wound. You've done nothing.
And now they're gonna be extra stirred up about it.
Literally. And then you have the people who are like me. It's like, yeah, if they release female space marines, I hope they give us more model options. That'd be pretty cool. I want
to paint the hair. Every
you
space
want
marine is bald. Please let me paint the hair.
You want female space marines for bad representation. I want female space marines for more head options. We're not the same.
Why is every space marine bald?
Yeah, there are a lot of bald ones. Or they have the worst.
I want a cool hair. I want a pompadour. I want a pompadour space marine. I want a space marine who's very meticulous with their hair care while they're killing, like, Tyranids.
Damn, it's so sad that the only candidate for that are now all chaosified and evil with the Emperor's Children.
True.
And now they're just horrific and also bald because their hair probably fell out.
They got all that goop in them, now they're evil and also bald. You're like, no! That's why I wanted them.
No, Games Workshop, no, don't give me a hot buff woman in armor. Don't do that. Oh, no.
I hate that the fact of, like, a hot buff woman in armor would scare off people just for existing as, like, a sad part of, like, 40k. But then, like, people are like, look at the Battle Sisters, they're super cool. I'm like, yeah, but that's not a space marine.
They are different.
Right, yeah.
I love the Sisters of Battle, but especially
really
they've done a lot of really cool work to get rid of the weird sexualization of them.
Yeah.
The main one is Repentia, where they used to be like pinup models, and then now if you look at any recent art of them in the past few years, it's horrifying. It is actually kind of like gross, since yeah, we want to hit the vibe of like self-flagellation, like that whole like penance thing, and now they hit it instead of stripper Sisters of Battle. And also just less boob plate, which is I have a bunch of their mech suits and it is immensely fun. Just like, yeah, I want a Sister of Battle with a giant like melt-a-gun and chainsaw hand. That's all I want. That's so cool.
It's like one of those things where it's like, man, this would be really cool if I learned about it now instead of like 10 years ago when I first took a look at it, and it was really weird and not great.
Yeah, the one benefit I'll say, at least to get into 40k, if you just ignore the community, if you just like actually read the books, sit down and only get it through that, there's actually a very cool amount of representation in there. It's very, very well woven into characters where they're just kind of nonchalantly saying like, oh yeah, that's my wife there, and then the character talking is a woman. Or characters that go by different pronouns. Some prominent like Xenos and just characters are non-binary. Stuff like that. There's a lot of that, it's just because at least in 40k, they all hate other factions, but inside the actual factions themselves, they're pretty non-sexist or racist.
Like the Kriegsmen, you just put the gas mask on, you grab the shovel, and you just run at them. No one cares.
No one cares what's under, because all you want to do is die in service.
All you need
all
is the will to serve the Emperor.
As long as you have that, they do not care, like, what you are. They don't care what you look like, what you identify as long as you work.
Yeah, it's so funny. It also just reminds me how goated Pathfinder is, because Pathfinder, they're just like, you want representation? Cracks knuckles. All right, let's release a book about some of the most badass undead slaying knights in all the realm. The one of the sole forces keeping the Whispering Tyrant back, and they're headed by a trans knight and her non-binary child, who also has been gifted like some unknown crimson power to slay undead. And it's just like, that's really kick-ass. If you want representation, there's not much better you could do than that, that's for sure. It's some of the biggest badasses in the legendary book just coming out, slaying undead and making the tyrant, the Whispering Tyrant shake in his little footies.
Oh, just like crack open Lost Owen's firebrands. That's it. That's the end of the sentence.
I haven't looked in the book itself yet. I don't have the book yet. I need to.
Oh, it's such a cool book. There's so many cool characters. It's very much gay. It's like the gay book, and I'm like, hell yeah! It's like it's like the entire faction is like at least half queer, and you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's great. Is that dragon? Like, why is that dragon in like a weird pinup pose? Anyways, look at that guy. He's got chest scars. He's got the top surgery scars. I do feel, however, there's a really cool NPC in the Firebrand's book who's like a halfling who went on like a week-long bender to distract guards. He ended up dying at the end, and I think Cade and Kaelin totally should have like made like a little like a space for him in like wherever like he's roaming as like one of his like exemplary like people, because like that is something a Cade Knight would do, and like it has his whole thing.
100%. What a cool god. I like him a lot.
He made his dog the divine dog, the goodest of boys, and they spawned a bajillion gooder boys to go and help the world, dog style.
That's great.
It's a great age for tabletop. It's crazy to think that literally in our lifetimes, we've gone from the age of like, no one plays the game, you're made fun of playing the game. The only people who really care the game are just these old hat, like love Tolkien works too much and are all about fantasy racism types people. And now we're just like, have you played Thirsty Sword Lesbians? It's a great game. Like, it's a really good age for tabletop.
It's such a weird dichotomy shift. You're like, oh, this is awesome. Now what's happening? Who do you worship? I worship the prismatic ray, the lesbian polycule of deities. And that's just a thing, and nobody cares. Unless you're weird on Twitter.
Yeah,
I gotta read through that core book. I gotta track that down somewhere. Seems like a fun read at the very least. There's
so much, and it's only made better, right? Like, there's so many staff working at Paizo who are, LGBTQA, and yet the books keep slamming. Every time they come out, they sell faster than they can print. And it's like, well, obviously, these people don't ruin the game. So you're telling me that you are only just keeping awesome game writers out of your space for no reason, right? It's ridiculous how just being more cool and caring less about what people like or identify as just suddenly makes a space better, And we also just have great role models for the era as well. Like a lot of the Critical Role cast, a lot of the Dimension 20 cast, just great people in the space. And granted, not everywhere on content creation side, even amongst the bigger players, are people cool, but like a good majority are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I would struggle to find one, probably because I just don't watch terrible people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is the thing where it's like I've gone so far away to like not interact with them that I don't see any like bad things on my like anything anymore. And like I've found so many cool, like awesome tabletop content creators to hang out with that are just really chill and nice. Like Tiefling Melissa, she's another VTuber. She's like the biggest D&D 5e VTuber, I think. She's a great friend, an awesome person. She's like a lesbian and stuff like that. She's cool. She has like such a really good positive community. You walk in there, it's half trans girls.
Yeah.
Like their Discord, you're like, what the hell? Okay, this is kind of okay. This came out of nowhere, and it's just like a nice supportive community that like. And then Nonat hangs out with her too now, and he's a really great, awesome dude who like is all about that type of stuff too. It's just like they all end up meeting together and just creating a giant web of like. This is a safe house. You don't have to be worried about anything bad here. If anything does happen, everyone will smite them at once.
And that's amazing. I definitely see it all the time on Twitter. It always makes me really happy to see, you know, everything going on. All the people who are just who feel safe, who can find spaces online to feel safe, and people to chat with in pretty good numbers, I might add. That's also another crazy thing that's happened in our lifetimes. Meeting a bunch of people like yourself, especially if you're in one of the minority groups, to just now just everywhere. You look around. I mean, we had someone earlier saying, like, I'm pretty sure like half the Discords I've been in were just 50% trans women, but maybe that's just the Discords I go to. It's just like, there's just a lot, and that's a good thing. There should be a lot.
It's also just great when like you see companies like Paizo not just making like a general blanket statement, be like, well, something problematic happened and we're gonna fix it, like wink, versus like Paizo being someone being like, there's too many gay people here, I don't like it, can you guys stop printing that? And then just flat be like, no, we'll leave my game.
Yeah.
Just like flat just say that, and it's like it becomes a meme because of how like they just don't care, they don't tolerate it. They're not gonna like try to like dance around and be like, well, we've heard there's bad things happening, we want to make sure that you know that we're the cool ones, right? They're like, no, I don't care about you. If this is gatekeeping, leave. I don't care. Like, it's not gatekeeping if you're gatekeeping yourself from these cool communities by being made of hate.
Yeah.
True. And also for that chat, Murloc, when I mentioned this, I have a chunk of names that I know on Twitter of like being the really fucking problematic in the accounts I have some issues with in the 40K community. They're all BattleTech fans. So, I don't know.
It's a lot of the old wargamey individuals. It's just old stuff that needs to be phased out. But it never will be, because there's always going to be hate in the world. That's why it's important that, you know, no matter how straight you are, no matter how cishet you are, you gotta stand up, give people the space, talk about how awesome it is that they're here, and show, you know, places are only made better when everyone is included, except those obviously filled with hate. It's like, why on earth, when you play a niche hobby, do you want less people to be interested in your hobby?
The biggest thing is like, why do you want less people interested in your cool niche hobby? Like, why is the thing that you're trying to do happen? And you're like, you just want you and like David over there, you just want you two to play it together forever only? You don't want your community to grow at all? Why are you like committing community suicide that way, just by like getting rid of any like reason for anyone to want to actually play it or do anything like that, and just you sitting alone with like your 4 buddies for the rest of forever,
talking about how there's all these people you dislike, like how terrible of an existence it must be when like the only small talk you can come up with your friends is how much you dislike groups of people. Terrible. And it's just, when you look on Twitter in spaces, you're just like, that's all they do. It's all they talk about. You don't see them talk about anything else. And I don't know.
It is legitimate brain rot. It gets in your head and then it fucks you up super bad. As you know what? I feel like this is a pretty good space to at least bring this up for any nerds that have come through this space. I, as a person, used to be a fucking really bad piece of shit. Went down the teenage line of, you know, kind of getting very close to the alt-right, that level a bit, and to where it is legitimately brain rot. All you can think of is just people you don't like and things you hate and all that. And you can work past it, and now I've realized, god damn, I held some beliefs that were fucking horrendous. I've treated some people pretty badly. And now I look back on that, it's like, I wish I could strangle 13-year-old me. Good lord, it should not have been on YouTube that early, I guess. But yeah, it's a thing where you can just accept and care about people and enjoy company of others. It's so bad when instead it's just everyone's people, everyone's great, everyone's fun to hang out with. Just have fun in a community and just have fun with your fellow human beings, please. But yeah, it's I used to be a horrific piece of shit. I am now very happy that I am not, and you can work past it if you just have people around that actually care about you, and trust me, you'll find even more if you're not a hateful piece of shit.
And just think of all the cool people you can meet when you just don't hate someone for things that they can't help or don't matter. Honestly, if I cared, if I only wanted to hang out with straight white people, I would have 3 friends. 4 friends, maybe. Like, most of the people I know are somewhere beyond the binary that people think the world needs to revolve around. And most of them, honestly, some of the best tabletop players I ever played with. So, you know, it's my focus in tabletop is just making tabletop fun for everyone. I try to think as the players, I try to think as the game, and I try to put my head in the space of what people enjoy. So I don't often talk about these kinds of things because it just doesn't matter to me as far as what anyone identifies or is or does or whatever, you know. It's like, I want you in the space. It doesn't matter who you are. It should go without saying. But it's important to have these kind of talks, to have these kind of moments on the channel so that people can see not just that I'm accepting, oh, look at me, but that it's just normal. We had a pretty normal conversation that we had with pretty much everyone else who's been on the channel up until, like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, something like that. Like, it was almost hard to stick to the topic of trans issues because we were just so excited about tabletop in general. And I mean, that's how it should be, right? We should just be more excited about the things we're doing, the hobbies we're playing, than who we're playing with.
Yeah, because like, I guess being someone who is like part of like that whole community is like no one ever cares. Like no one in there ever cares who or what you are, as long as you're like a chill person and you're fun to do stuff with. No one in the LGBT plus like community is gonna like think like that. Like it's just one of those things that's wild. It's like outside looking in, it's like, wow, these people are just chilling. I might hate that.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And you know, like I really do care. You know, I especially because like the first thing I messaged a few was like, hey, sorry, I don't want to assume. Are you trans? I'd like to have you come on top because, you know, it was just something I was just like, I wanted someone that is identifiable, that a lot of people know, and just to give you a space, and also just my maybe crackpot theory, I don't know, that trans people are just attracted to goblins for some reason.
I don't know what it is. I think it's just the goblin energy.
It is. So it's just one of those things, and Yeah, let's see. Lumigosa saying, yeah, no, I hear that. I used to be an incredibly edgy teen with pretty closed-off views. My friend group has helped me get out of that, and now I'm a trans furry. I don't hate myself or the other people anymore. I'm more comfortable with who I am. That's a big transformation. That's a huge transformation. And imagine
very happy to hear that.
Yeah, right? It's just like, just imagine how miserable life would be not knowing the complete different person you would be if you removed hate from your life.
It all stems from just not liking yourself, and you can accept yourself and however you feel happy identifying as. It's an important step to like work through. Like get to that point where you can identify as what you want to identify as.
Lumi is like a really good friend of mine. I've known her for like 5 or 6 years now, and I was there when we first introduced her to like tabletop games, and they were so like afraid. Like, I'm not gonna say afraid. It was like not used to it, uncomfy with like role playing out loud. So they like the type stuff because they did WoW RP stuff like that. They were like a little Murloc gunslinger, and it was kind of cute. And so evolving over these years, being like the best role player I've ever met ever. Like so outspoken and stuff. Things after years of us being like, yeah, it's okay to just hang out and be you. You can do whatever you want. And just being like, oh, cool. And then just like evolving into like the most amazing role player I know.
I feel the being really uncomfortable with role play early on, and then from what I've been told, now I'm pretty good at it. It is a fun transition.
Yeah, it's great. I can say I was definitely bullied a lot as a child, but I don't have that same, like, I might be a little bit on the spectrum, who knows. I don't really have the same problem when it comes to like social awareness or anything like that. I never felt bad for liking the things I liked. I never felt like insecure about it, but I can honestly say I was bullied regardless, you know what I mean? Like whether I cared or not about it, I mean, people that target me out for it. And it's something that I feel like I can relate of just like, what if I didn't enjoy it? What if I didn't find my life passion, which is tabletop gaming, because I was afraid for being bullied, right? That sounds so tragic. And I did LARPing. I was a big LARPer when I was younger as well.
You LARPed?
I LARPed. I played
I've never met anyone who's ever LARPed before.
Yeah, my first class I leveled out Wizard. So I was not only the boffer
lightning bolt guy.
Yes. I was not only the boffer LARPer. I was the guy running around going, lightning bolt, and throwing like a stuffed ball at people. I was that kid.
Literally that.
I love that.
Let's see. I know the heal spell by heart. Sword cut, spear stab, mace smash, arrow jab, let the live healing descend on the sword cut, spear stab, waste. You'd have to do this whole thing to heal people.
Really?
In it, and it's like 4 verses, I think, where you chant that same thing pretty much, and like I enjoyed that. I remember talking to people, knowing they were mocking me. I didn't care, but what I did instead was like, hey, come out. It's a lot of fun, actually. Join us. And they're like, oh, yeah, totally. And you know what they would do? They'd drive by and shout, like, nerds or something out of their car, driving past us. And it's just like, that is the cool thing to do. Just to drive by somewhere, a park, and shout nerds and be rude at people. That's the cool thing. No one saw you do this. It was purely for your own pleasure, pretty much. And that's, you know, right? That's why this matters a lot. It matters a lot, not only to me, it matters a lot to everyone. Everyone should be excited. Everyone should be able to enjoy tabletop, to enjoy nerdy things. I mean, we got here together to not only talk about trans people, goblin players, whatever, but also to enjoy the new classes and talk about them together, and just talk about TTRPGs in general. There is no better picture of harmony I can see than this. That's why it's important, and I hope if any of you walk away with anything, just remember, even if they're cis, there's plenty of cis people out here who also want you in the space. Because I know I do. I know Alex does.
Yeah. I want more people in the fucking 40K space, and I understand the people that have issues with that community because it's rough. Trust me, I see it and I also hate it.
I just feel like there's a lot of people who, like, once they hit the age of, like, 10 or whatever, lost all of their whimsy or, like, ability to have fun or, like, see the magic in the world and just, like, become jaded, like, so early on and have to, like, find that whimsy, find that magic again, and then just become a better person because of it.
Yeah. Enjoy the nerdy things. Do the things you think were too nerdy for you before, because turns out they're pretty fun and you meet a lot of cool people doing it, too.
You know how you stopped building those Legos after 13 because you thought they were for kid stuff? Buy some Star Wars Legos. You'll love it. Trust me.
Fair. There's a lot of people who just fall back in love with Legos, and it's just, that's the thing, right? Is like, it's important to be a productive member of society, but it's also important to step away from that and to just enjoy the things you like to enjoy. And you're safe. Everyone is safe here. Just know that, like, I think it's important to let, minority people talk about their thing, give them a space. But I think it's equally as important as well to let people know that, like, I'm the straightest, whitest person I know. And I'm a guy. So, I got all those markers. I want you all in this space. There are straight, white guys out there, women, whatever, who want you in this space, who know you deserve to be in this space, and who are fighting for you to be in this space. And if you haven't heard it today, well, hopefully this is the time that you heard it, and you can take it to heart that there's a lot of people out here who want you in this space. Not just people in your camp. People outside of your camp want you in the space too, because everyone deserves to enjoy tabletop.
Yeah, people should just be able to, like, go and, like, without, like, I feel like people being, like, afraid of being cringe nowadays or, like, being nerdy, stuff like that, and, like, trying to gatekeep themselves off of stuff is, like, really sad. Like, so there's people out there who, like, yeah, they made cringy fan fictions, but they made them happy. Go back and do that again. Like, try it again. Try all the things that you thought were, like, nerdy or cringy, and just be like, try it again now that, like, you're an adult, and, like, no one's gonna care, like, since you're an adult. Like, no one's gonna care, like, what you do with your spare time, as long as, like, you're not being a bad person with it. Just, like, all these things, like, you stopped doing because you, like, felt like you grew up, or, like, you're too adult now to do that. Go and try it again. Just, you never know. It might bring back that spark that will, like, help you again.
Do not kill the part of you that is cringe. Kill the part of you that cringes.
Yes.
Wise words. Glue Boy 2023.
Like, man, I used to do some really cringy roleplay stuff on, like, Miiverse and forums when I was, like, 17.
Oh, the Miiverse stuff.
Oh, the Miiverse stuff.
I would just sit and read through because I was like, this is super... it was pure, like, I'm just fascinated by this. I think this is weird, but these people are all having more fun than I am right now.
Yeah. Find your weird fun. Find your cringe stuff that makes you happy.
As long as you're not hurting anyone else, go ham. Go all out.
I always love examining stuff like that where I'm very much like, this, I think this is weird and kind of goofy, but you should always have that thought of, this person is probably way happier with their life than I am.
Also reminds me of, like, if you're a GM, right? I know sometimes when you're thinking off the top of your head, you just kind of stick to the things that's familiar. But go out, make random characters of different preferences and ideals. It's great. In one of our anima games, funny enough, the party came across the big gay, bi Viking, and he just took everyone. He's just like, "You're all my children now." He loved everyone. He fell in love with a woman, had a son with her. She died, unfortunately. Her brother came to grief, and then he schmoozed her brother up and got with him too. And everyone loved him. He was just he
He's
had that
great.
Riz.
He
Papa
is
Don.
fantastic, I'll say.
Yeah, Papa Don. He was great character. And you know what? I didn't even think about it. I just threw it in because I was like, you know what would be funny? This storyline where there's just this Viking who loves no matter who you are, no matter what you are. He sleeps with a bunch of women, bunch of men, it doesn't matter. He finds love in someone, and he can even love their brother just as much. Just a fun character, and sometimes in your games, your players just want a pseudo father, like father figure, mother figure, whatever, to love them, because a lot of people didn't get that as children. And it's something that's very easy to see the second you put that character in, because you'll see your players melt when they need that attention. It's amazing. And that's the thing, right, is it's an idea that would never have come up if I wasn't open to the idea of having, you know, non-straight people in my games. Plain and simple. Everything is made better with extra variety, you know. And what's spicier than the variety of what we already got going on. Well, we're getting towards the end here. We're gonna have a few minutes over the hour. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed your time here, Phoebe. Anything else you want to talk about in our last like 5 minutes or so?
Not that I can think of. Just go out there, everybody. Find what makes you happy, and try every single tabletop you physically can, if ever
Please.
able.
Yeah.
Just like, you never know. Like, well, even if you still like, you're like, I'm not a fan of this. I'm gonna go back to like this game that I'm really comfortable with. You'd still have like knowledge and stuff you could bring back. Maybe like, I did like this one small part of it, though. I'll implement this here, and just like keep your games happy, keep your games alive. Try out everything.
Yeah. Do it once. Do it one shot. You don't have to dedicate. Not every game. I say this all the time. Not every game you play needs to be a multi-year long campaign. Please. Have shorter campaigns. I promise you.
A 10-session like short story is typically like can end up being way more enjoyable than like a 7-year like run through.
Well, a 10-session short story at least has an ending. There's so many campaigns I hear people start
True.
that just they don't end. Like
They never get a full ending. They just burn out.
They just burn out, and it's so unfortunate. There's so many games I've run personally. They just burned out, and it was so unfortunate when if I just made it like 40 sessions, you know, which is long, but not like 5 years long. Then, you know, we could have actually had an ending and done the whole thing, you know? I want people to play more games, even if it's 10 sessions, even if it's 5 sessions, you know, even if it's a one-shot, try other games, because I guarantee you're going to enjoy some. I'm going to get some Fabula Ultima, whether it kills me.
You gotta play Fabula Ultima, it's so good.
I'll eventually like play a session. It's just I got so much other things I do.
I mean, trust me, man, I'm also super busy.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Stop being busy. I'll just not show up to work.
Don't do anything. Except for tabletop.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with multi-year long campaigns, but like not everyone needs to be one. You know, have your side game, have your side game every once in a while. It's good. It's good. I'm planning on running a. What if we were all trapped? Not trapped necessarily, but what if we were all playing a VR MMO style for Fabula Ultima?
Is it like
That'd be cool.
Is it like the idea of us? Like, oh, I am Alex, and I'm in a MMO.
I don't
like
know.
You got isekai.
Not necessarily isekai, but just like talking, just role playing out like one of those anime where you get on with your friend and you play a VR MMO. You don't
Like your
necessarily
Sword
have to
Art
be
Online was not threatening.
right. You don't have to be yourself necessarily. Like I'm not saying play yourself, Alex, but I'm saying play a person playing a character. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, be David who logs on every like week to go hang out and raid with his friends on WoW, and goes to like work.
Right. You know?
I mean, just like the idea of, oh, we're all trapped in it, I was thinking, like, oh, is the idea of the campaign then it's us? Like, as if we just picked up a new MMO. Like, in
I
our
mean,
Discord
if that's
call.
what we want to do, I'm totally behind that idea too.
I think that'd be a cool idea, but I'm also, like, I'm just interested in the setting and, like, the actual game. It looks really interesting.
There's not really a setting.
I guess it's setting wrong. I meant more like the system itself.
Yeah, the system's really cool.
It seems pretty cool, and I'm very curious, despite vehemently despising the isekai and like VR game anime genre, that at least the game looks really fun.
I'm still the saddest that like anime destroyed the isekai genre.
Yeah.
Like just because of oversaturation, because like it's such a fun concept. Like people are doing it forever. Like the old D&D TV show where they're on the roller coaster into like D&D world. That's an isekai. That's goofy as hell.
Captain N.
But then the episodes where they take it way too seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Log Horizon. It's so good. But it's just like try to get someone to watch it. It's just like, what's it about? It's a isekai VR MMO kind of game, and they're
okay, I'm going to go home now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, sad.
I've seen Sword Art. I know how this is gonna go. It's gonna get really weird, really fast. It's like, no, please, hear me out.
I promise a bunch of 14-year-olds aren't going to start an impromptu family instead of a VR game.
I will never not be mad at that scene where he hacks into the mainframe to bring his child that he just met back to life. Instead of logging everyone out while he's inside the control command console, he can hit the log out button and everyone be free, but he's like, I want my child.
God, I remember when first time in my life in middle school, when I was getting into anime, I watched my first few animes, and then someone was like, hey, Sword Art Online. It's new, it's pretty cool, you should watch it. I was like, okay, you've given me some banger recommendations before. Devil's a Part-Timer was pretty fun, I agree. Based. And I went home, I watched the first 3 episodes, I came back, and I told them, that was one of the worst pieces of media I've ever watched in my life. What the fuck are you talking about?
That almost like that show almost turned me off anime forever because I was literally like that was the first show I've ever watched on Netflix was Sword Art Online, and I was like, okay, the first half was okay, had a lot of problems, and then the second half is like we're in the fairy town and the one cool girl character is now in a cage and there's some weird tentacle stuff's gonna happen, and I'm like, man, what the fuck is this? Like I just want to watch weird cool video game sword fighting, and then my friend was like, all right, hear me out. Watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and also Soul Eater, and I'm like, okay, oh, this is really good for no reason.
It is a shame that I'm not a fan of Soul Eater, despite like all the cool things I hear about it. But like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, best shit ever.
It's real good.
For no reason. I'm so glad that was one of my first, so I could filter out all the like the lesser than great ones. I could be like, I don't have to watch this anymore. I know it's not gonna be great.
I mean, it's like all media. Not all movies are great. Not all anime are great.
Just a large majority of content that exists is just kind of rough. But then you can think back and all you remember are the good ones. Because like, I need to watch Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. I need to get access to some method of watching
I'm
it.
so excited! They're starting the new season, like the actual Shibuya arc.
Dude, I read the manga of JJK. I can't like it anymore.
Oh well, probably a conversation for another day.
I'm not gonna say it, but like, I can't. I'm sorry.
Damn.
It's so cool. I hate that it looks so fucking pretty.
Thanks everyone for being here. Know that in the TTRPG space, as far as I'm concerned, you're wanted and you're loved here. Join our Discord if you want to see other cool people chat. You can also find me on Twitter or on YouTube if you're not on YouTube. We also stream on Twitch. And as well, be on the lookout. I have the playtest material already, so some videos will be coming out tomorrow. So subscribe if you want to see that. But Google it. Where can we find you?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is Blueboy. If you look me up, look for the Smiling Virgil. Easy enough. It's on your screen right now. I make 40k content. I do a lot of lore stuff. I put out a video today on a pretty fun character, and if, for example, you are a tabletop fan, I actually put out a couple, like a week ago, a video I am immensely proud of called The Best Tabletop Game You Should Never Play, Anima Beyond Fantasy. It is a overview of how fucking dumb that game system is. I think it's a pretty fun watch, so like give that a look. And like I said, despite being 40K related, I do my best to make it a pretty cool, fun experience for anyone watching. So give a look if you're interested at all in delving into the lore.
Nice. And Phoebe, where can we find you, and what would you like to leave us off with?
I can be found on Twitter.com at Phoebe Bane and on Twitch.com at Phoebe Bane VT. I'm going to be, hopefully tomorrow, uploading a bunch of videos about the new playtest classes. I'll end up linking that in my Discord and also on my Twitter once I have the YouTube channel set up, because I forgot again. I'll probably set it up after this is over. It's probably just going to be Phoebe Bane again.
Fair enough, fair enough. And I didn't do it. I will add your stuff. And hey, if you send me a YouTube link, I will also link that in the description on YouTube. So this live cast can be found on YouTube. Some people don't know this. If you go to the channel, you can go hit the live tab and you can find all of our prior streams. A lot of people don't know that for some strange reason.
It is weirdly hidden.
It is not necessarily hidden, but it just wasn't a feature forever. And now it is. But I have to remind people because I got yelled at the other times. I was like, where's our other games? I can't find them. I'm like, they're on the channel. You gotta click the live tab. It's where they all go now.
It's
It's like home, videos, shorts, and then live. And you gotta be like, oh, there's a tab for it.
On one hand, it's like if you don't know it exists, you're like, oh man, all this content that's being referred to is just like doesn't exist, I guess. On the other hand,
they removed it.
I'm so happy that like VODs don't just kind of ruin browsing a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Just get in there mingled. You're like, cool, this is a 20-minute information video, and there's a 7-hour live stream.
I don't watch live stream content. I don't have the attention span for it. I don't want to watch these.
Mood. Anyway, that's
I
gonna be it
always
for
feel
us.
bad about me not being able to like, watch like actual play stuff while I'm also in a couple of them, because like I can't sit still and do the same thing for more than like a minute without me being like, I'm gonna pass out.
Ditto.
I mean, the thing is you produce content not because you will watch your own content, but you expect other people to watch it. So you expect other people to like different types of content. That's just the way you gotta look at it. Anyway, that's gonna be it from us. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Bye.